Hey everybody, I had a lot of fun with this one. 5 big blunders we make when preparing for retirement. So let's break these down. The first one's an easy one. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I love that saying. So look, not enough income to pay base living expenses leads to reliance on your savings, okay? Which in turn creates an uncomfortable retirement because we scrutinize every penny that we're using and should we invest it, and it hampers how much we can actually invest, and it really hurts us in the long run in retirement. Certainly not enough savings in retirement causes a bunch of problems, right? It makes you live on a budget. Sometimes you get forced into debt when you need bigger emergency things, maybe a car or air conditioner. Something happens and we don't have the extra money for it. So then we start building that debt. That's problematic in retirement. We don't want debt in retirement. And then we also have to remember, if we don't have enough savings and we're relying on mostly just flat income, we're going to have trouble keeping up with inflation. Boy, that's going to create problems later in retirement as well. Then the other side of this is not having a plan, not bringing it all together, having a good income plan. This exposes you to more taxation, more fees. It reduces the returns in your portfolio. It exposes us to the number one no-no, which is pulling from investments that have lost. The whole idea of a retirement portfolio is to have a place you can pull to continue enjoying your retirement, whether the stock market's up or down. Okay, so we've got to make sure that we've got a plan to create those efficiencies in retirement as well. So failing to plan, that's number one. Number two, mismanaging tax-advantaged retirement plans. We have to have an understanding of IRA money and Roth money. Okay, IRA money is very simple. You contribute to avoid higher taxation, meaning in your working years, you're making lots of income, and that's when you're going to be paying more taxation. We want to avoid that taxation by contributing to IRAs, which is 401ks, things like that, the pre-tax savings avenue. And then on the flip side of that, we're going to withdraw to take advantage of lower taxation. So you put in when you're paying 20+% taxation, and you pull out when you're paying 12% taxation. That's the way you utilize IRA money to your advantage. Now let's look at Roth. Roth, the polar opposite. Contribute to take advantage of lower taxation, meaning you're in a lower tax situation. So we're going to contribute to Roth because we're okay paying the taxes on that money that we're saving. Putting it into Roth then makes it tax-free for the rest of our life. So we're going to withdraw to avoid higher taxation. Okay? It's really simple. If we understand this, that's all we need to know about our choices of IRA versus Roth, 401k traditional or Roth 401k. We've got to know when to put into Roth, when to put into IRA, when to pull out of IRA, when to pull out of Roth, okay? Use these to your advantage. Next, messing up guaranteed income. Look, these are some of the biggest choices you're going to make in retirement. Your Social Security, your pension income, and those income annuities, if you need them, you've got to make smart decisions on these because they're lifetime decisions, first of all. Second of all, they represent an enormous value to your monetary retirement. Okay, so guaranteed income should pay all base living expenses. That's priority number one. So when we're looking at the landscape of our guaranteed income, we have to understand our budget. Too much income is inefficient, meaning you're getting more than you need, which means you're paying taxation on money you didn't need, right? And income doesn't pass to your heirs, savings does. So we don't really necessarily want to have too much income, but we're not going to call a pension and say, pay me less, please. That's just not something we're going to do. So the other side of that is too little income is obviously uncomfortable. We can't pay our base living expenses. We rely on our savings. These all create problems. So Social Security, make sure we understand which of our wages and earned income is reported. I've actually run into people that did work their entire life and don't have pension or Social Security because of mistakes that they made. They worked in a system that wasn't paying into Social Security. There's many state and government jobs and even teaching jobs in some states that don't pay into Social Security. And in that case, they also opted out of the pension program at their employer, besides the fact that they had changed jobs several times. So we have got to make sure that through our working life, we are actually paying into the system and that we're going to qualify for Social Security. Then there's that conversation of beginning Social Security too early or too late. So there's a whole lot of intricacies on making the decisions there. Some of it is personal choice. Okay, we have to understand that. But the other side of it is understanding the black and white numbers, the amount of money that you're going to receive. The longer you delay, the more income you will get. The longer you live, the more that choice will pay off. Okay. The other mistake or things that we have to take into account, planning with spouses, including ex-spouses or even widow situations, deceased spouses. We still have benefits from any marriage that lasted more than 10 years or ended because of someone passing away. So making sure that we're making decisions as if we're married, making the right decisions for each of you together, not as each individual. Okay. And then knowing the benefits you have from ex-spouses or deceased spouses. And then understanding the taxation of Social Security, because a lot of people get into retirement, collect Social Security, and some years they pay very little taxes, and some years they pay a whole bunch of taxes, and their income doesn't change too much. And all of that has to do with Social Security. We got to be so careful in understanding how Social Security gets taxed. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. And there's a very sensitive part of our tax return. So we got to be careful about that. Pension, know what you qualify for. Okay, understanding your pension in your working years becomes really important. It might keep you at your job longer because that's the valuable part of that employer's benefits. Job hopping leads to no pension benefits. If you're lucky enough to have a job and they provide a pension option, know your benchmarks. Do you have to work there 5 years, 10 years, 30 years? I don't want you to have a huge benefit if you work to the 30th year, but you retire at 29 years, right? So we got to know what those benchmarks are, how it grows, how you can maximize the use of it. So again, the same conversation of beginning too early or too late. We have to understand the growth parameter. Just because you're retiring from that job doesn't mean you have to take that pension. Sometimes the pensions, begin at 55. Some of them don't begin till 65. Some of them you have a choice, just like Social Security, and it gets bigger every year you choose to wait. And then weighing the cash option versus the payment option. And part of that conversation comes with those base living expenses. Are you going to have enough guaranteed income in retirement? Then there's the income annuities. And the first thing you have to ask yourself is, do I really need more income? Okay. These unfortunately get sold out there. They're very useful in certain circumstances. People that are planning ahead that need income in maybe 5 years. There's some great tools out there, but they're getting sold to people on false pretenses. So you have to be the quarterback on this, or have a good financial planner that actually understands these things. It's important for you to do a budget and understand your pension and Social Security income first. The only reason you're going to get into income annuities is if you need more guaranteed income to pay your base living expenses. Okay. Then once you've assessed that, you need to compare the projected income payments, not the growth. Don't get glamorized by a 30% bonus or 17% growth versus 7% growth, right? It doesn't matter what those growth parameters are. You got to figure out, well, I need income in 5 years. Well, which one's going to give you the best income in 5 years? That doesn't mean something with a 30% bonus is going to beat something that has an 8% bonus. You have to know the whole story first. Don't get glamorized by those fancy bells and whistles. Then, if you need income now, Not one of the salesmen that sells those deferred income annuities will sell you a immediate annuity, but that has by far the highest payout rate. So we do need to understand that if we need income now, that's exactly what the pension is. Companies, when you retire, take a lump sum of money, hand it to an insurance company, and buy an immediate annuity because it is the highest payout, guaranteed payout of any other tool out there. So make sure that that's not overlooked if you need income now. All right. Now, emotional investing. We got to think about this. This is important because remember that if you don't have enough income to pay your base living expenses, we then rely on our savings, and that becomes scary, and it forces us to become more emotional about that, and it really hinders our ability to invest that part of your portfolio. So investing based on emotion, greed or fear or any of that type of stuff is the main reason why so many people are buying at the top of the market and selling at the bottom of the market. We see that all the time. And, you know, a good advisor is going to try to talk you through it. But, you know, look, most advisors are still going to bow down and say, okay, I don't think you should do this, but I will do it if you need me to. And then understanding the risks associated with investments is really important to have that filter of an advisor, because that will make this a little bit better decision-making process, right? It's important that we understand the risk parameters of each individual investment, so that way we can make the decisions properly. And then volatility. Rising interest rates. Investors, move funds from riskier stocks to lower risk securities. But the problem is you're trying to time the market while staying invested. And that is something that historically has done very poorly. Okay, so be careful about that. Think about the dollar cost averaging. If you have ways to continue contributing to these accounts as we go through volatility, it becomes very important. The key is don't withdraw from losses, have other choices. And then staying the course through short-term volatility, especially for retirees, becomes very important. Okay, think about that pandemic. Everybody knew when to get out of the stock market when the pandemic was coming, but nobody knew where to get back in. And that first month after that crash was fast and furious. We made everything back. So a lot of people missed out on this. And trying to time the market, getting in and getting out, is always going to turn out to be a bad choice. When you're retired, only have enough money in the stock market that you can handle the ups and downs. We should not be sitting there emotionally pulling money out of that portfolio. And then the final one, focusing only on the financial side of retirement. Please, please, please don't go into retirement and sit on a couch and do nothing. Please, you have to have a social outlet, whether you're a social person or not. It has absolutely been proven. There's a bunch of studies that have been coming out on what makes people happy in retirement. Now, I'm not technically a very social person, but the reality is the idea of retiring kind of scares me. I'm just a busybody that's got to do. But what am I going to do if I'm not working, if I'm not educating, if I'm not teaching, if I'm not doing the financial planning side of this? So you've got to have a plan the day you retire. That's so important. You've got to have a bucket list. You got to know what you enjoy. Is it the grandkids? Is it traveling? What is it? Golfing. Know what you're going to do. Create a new routine and get out there and interact with people, because it is so important. Not only for your mental well-being, but for your physical well-being is much better for that. All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hit the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel if you haven't. We've got new videos every single week. And as always, give us a call, shoot us an email if there's anything we can help with. We're always happy to jump on a Zoom call or meet in person in Arizona. Always happy to help out. And love the interaction. Comments below. I'm paying attention. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.